Hi everyone, greetings for the day. So today we'll take into consideration a SQL problem which was asked in an interview at Amazon company. So let's deep dive into what this SQL question is all about and how we can achieve this using a database Postgres version 13. So what is the given problem is, given a table of purchases by the date for year 2019, calculate the month over month percentage change in revenue. So we have an input table which is called as SF underscore transactions, and it has 4 columns: ID, created at, value, purchase ID. And if you see created underscore at date, all of these dates are for the year 2019. That's what is being asked in the question as well. If you see 2019. Okay, let's go forward. What it says is calculate the month over month percentage change in revenue. So what we have to calculate is like what was the revenue in the month January, what was the revenue in the month February, March, April, and so on. So we have to basically calculate the change in revenue. So suppose I earned revenue of suppose 1000 rupees in month of January, and in month of February I earned 500 rupees. So what is the change in revenue month over month? What it says next is rounded to the second decimal point and sorted from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Okay, so what it means rounded to the second decimal point is, if you see the expected output table, after each decimal there are only 2 digits. So this is what it says, and sorted from the beginning of the year to the end of the year is like starting from January until December, sorted in ascending order. Okay. Now how can we calculate the change in percentages? The percentage change column will be populated from the second month forward. So what it says is, the percentage change column will be populated from the second month forward. So this change in percentage can only be calculated from the second month, which is February month. Because if suppose I'm starting a business in the month of January, so how can I calculate a change in revenue in terms of percentage? So hence we have to start calculating it from the second month onwards. And this is the formula. It's like the this month revenue minus last month revenue divided by last month's revenue into 100. So now let's get into the database and see how we can solve this problem. So this is the DDL statement of the SF underscore transaction table. We have an ID column, created at, value which is an integer, purchase ID, and this particular ID is a primary key over here. So I've already created this table and I've already inserted the record. So let me do a select star from SF underscore transaction. So now let's deep dive into how we can solve this query. So let me open another tab. Let me do select star from SF underscore transactions. Let me see. Okay, so now what the first thing that we have to do as per the requirement that is being given is calculate month over month percentage change in revenue. The output should include the year, month, date in this particular format, YYYY hyphen MM. So if you see the expected output, what it says is year, month. So let's try to create this first column out of this query, which would be month hyphen year hyphen month number. So what we can do is, we have a date called as created at. Let's convert it to the format which is given. So in PostgreSQL we can make use of to-char, the column and the format in which we require that column, minus mm as year comma month. Let's execute this query to see if we are able to execute. Okay, we have got this. Now the second thing we need to check is how much was the revenue for that particular month. So what we can do in this case is, we can make use of this column which is value, and we can sum that value so that we can get what is the total revenue for each month in the year 2019. So let me do it this way. I can do sum of value as monthly revenue. I can write as I'm using the aggregation function sum. I will have to group by the first column which is year, month. I can use directly one over here, that is the position of the column. This we can use in Postgres. Let us check. Okay, let me order by first column, that is month, so that we can get an ascending order right from the month of January until the month of December. So this is the revenue monthly revenue for the first month, second month, March, April, May, so on. Now what it says, the query says is the percentage change column will be populated from second month forward and can be calculated as. So first let's focus on this particular formula. What it says is this month revenue minus last month revenue. So this month revenue, suppose if we take into consideration January month, we know what is the revenue. February month, we know what is the revenue. Now what we need is last month's revenue. So suppose taking into consideration month February, we need what was the last month revenue. So what we have to do is this month revenue, that is 952,031 minus 1,332,636. That's what it says, like this month revenue minus last month revenue. So how can we achieve this? What we need to do over here to achieve this is, let's assume we create one more column as previous month revenue, and this value I get over here in the side of this 952,031. So we can easily subtract both the values. So for that, what we can use in PostgreSQL is we will use lag function. So what does a lag function do is, sorry, a lead function, not a lag function. So what we can do is lead over, we have to order by here underscore month, because we need that in ascending order. I'm writing it as previous monthly revenue, and over here what particular column we need to do a lead is the sum of value. So let us consider this over here, we'll write it over here this way. Let's see if we are able to get that column over here. We have a syntax error. Okay, so now if you see, sorry, we have to use a lag function, not the lead function, apologies. So if you see over here, if we have used a lag function, so what it gives over here is this month, and I wanted the previous month revenue side by side. So 952,031, the previous month revenue was 1,332,636, so I got it over here. Similarly for the month of March, what is the previous month monthly revenue, which is 952,031, so I got it over here. So this is how we can create a new column by using a lag function. So what it basically does is the lag value for, so taking into consideration this particular value, what is the lag value for that particular row is the row number 1, so it will give you this. So for row number 3, what is the lag value, row number 2. So this is how we can achieve this particular column. So now let's consider what we wanted to do. So the thing is, let's do a width, let's put this under a CTE as, so I have given a CTE, let's do it year month, what is the formula is this month revenue minus last month revenue. So let's do it that way, this month revenue minus last month revenue. Let's at least see if we are getting some value out of it. From CTE, okay, so we don't have any error, we are getting what exactly we wanted. Let's see what is the next step, divide by last month's revenue. So let me do it this way, minus divide by last month revenue is previous month's revenue, dividing this, let's see if we are getting some value. Okay, so we are getting value as a 0, and the reason is the previously monthly revenue, it by default has converted into an integer. So in PostgreSQL we have to cast it as decimal. Let me check if I'm able to get some values. Now I'm getting some values. And what is the formula is, after dividing from the last month revenue, we have to multiply it by 100. So let's multiply this by 100 into 100 as revenue diff percentage, revenue diff percentage. Let's see if we are getting the output. Okay, we have got some output. If you see, it's minus 28.56, 23.35, minus 13.83, minus 28.56, 23.35, it is matching, minus 13.83, it is matching. Now the last part is we have to rounded it to the second decimal point that was being asked in the question. If you see, after decimal we are getting many digits. Sorry. So what we can do over here is round, and after a decimal how much digit we want is 2, and this should give us the output that we wanted. Okay, so let's compare the output. For the month of January it was null. For the month of February it minus 28.56. For the month of March 23.35. For the month of April 13.84, and so on. If you check for the last month December, minus 2.11, so minus 2.11. So this is how we can make use of a lag function over here to achieve an output. So what we have basically done is, first we created, just to give an overview of what that query was. So based out of this created underscore add column, we created a column which gives us YYYY-mm, that is year month column. Then what we did is sum of value, so that for each month we get, okay, what was the revenue. And the third column that we generated was, we wanted what was the revenue for that particular month, suppose for the month of February, and what was the previous month. So this is how we use a lag function. And finally the formula that was given is this month minus last month divided by last month revenue. So this is what we have done, and round was the last thing we added, so that we get only 2 digits after the decimal. So this is how you can solve this kind of problem. And the important thing to remember is the lead and the lag function. If you want the previous row, if there is any calculation which involves comparing the current row with the previous row or the row after that, so that's where the lead and lag function will help you in database in SQL.